Dynamite Delight. Now, before we get started, I want to show you guys something so you understand why I chose the title the way I did. Now, I am going to do the review, but I want you to look at something. Look at this. NWO. When it came to WCW. Didn't get a chance to see much of it during the time I was working and going to school, but I still loved it. Bret Hart. John Cena. DX. Mr. Kurt Hennig right there. Hang on. So you can see. Kurt Hennig right there. I love WWE. Don't think I don't. I've always loved it. But when you see the situation we're in right now, I had to make the video the way it is with its title. Dynamite was better than Raw. There's no way. Look, we got a skit of a freaking musical. And that's more interesting than what we had with Omos versus Elias in the opening of the show after Roman Reigns dealt with Cody Rhodes. Let's be honest. This show easily beat Raw. Does it mean it's going to be better for the ratings? I doubt it. Just like NXT, this show beat Raw. There's no lie about it. Will the ratings reflect it? No. I'm going to make it clear. I don't believe the ratings here will reflect what happened with WWE. They're still too high up right now. But I had to say it. Now, opening, we had a trios match. The best friends in Orange Cassidy versus the House of Black. Now, I am glad to see the House of Black getting something now. I'm very glad. Now, they need a feud that means something. Now, question is, will it be with Orange Cassidy and the best friends? Will they continue having good fights with them? I don't know. Match was fine. But in the end, the House of Black won. I wasn't surprised Malachi Black's team won. There's no way they would lose. It's too soon. And if they make them drop it now, it'll be stupid to hot potato the damn title again. Second, Rio versus Jamie Hayter. What happened to the story of the Outsiders versus the Originals? Has it already fizzled out already? I am so pissed off about that. Taking away from the match. Look, I don't take anything away from Rio. She's been wrestling since she was 9. And she's 26 years old right now. So she's already reached the point of a veteran easily. I take nothing from her. Jamie Hayter. I love me my Hayter. I love her intro music. I love it. I take nothing from her. But this is cold. Now, mind you, I did not see Rampage, but I did know they were going to have a match last week. They were talking about it. So I know that. But I don't know what happened on Rampage. So I don't know if anything was added to the situation with the Outsiders, who basically, after the match was over, saying they're coming after Jamie Hayter. But there's still only 3 of them. And shouldn't have been attacked, literally. They should have been chased down and attacked by some of the originals. There's no originals. There's no outsiders. It feels empty still. And that's angering me. I want to see Tony. I want to see Saraya. And I want to see Ruby get something. Honestly, that's what I want to see. But I'm not seeing anything yet. It feels it's empty. Now that's if they're still continuing the originals versus the outsiders, which I don't think they are. I could be wrong, guys, tell me below. And I gotta say that the match was a bit sloppy when it came to Rio and Jamie Hayter. It was a little bit. So, what did we get? I want to get the match first done before I talk to the segment of the MJF day. Let's go to Commander versus Sammy Guevara. That happened after the segment with MJF, with the supervisor of Oyster Bay, and everything that happened with Jungle Boy, then Sammy coming out and grabbing the title. I'm just saying this first. I have a problem when it comes to Commander. Major problem. It's not because he's a high flyer. It's because he's a high flyer that truly cares more about getting the move done perfectly than anything else. And there's a major issue with that. Look, when you look at Sammy Guevara compared to Commander, this is what you get. I'm not a big high-flying fan. I like it when it's necessary. And I'm not saying it's bad when you see high-flying wrestlers like luchadors or like Sammy Guevara, who's a high-flying wrestler. He can flip his ass all over the place. Mr. Crazy can do that. And I believe 100% that wrestlers must be like him. Not that they don't take time to set up the move, but you don't make them overcomplicated. Look, when it came to Commander, as cool as those moves were, you saw him on the ring ropes going, run, and then do it. One of the major issues that wrestlers have that are that type of style is the setup. People can easily get annoyed. The old school wrestlers, I'm not saying I'm an old school wrestler. Doesn't mean I don't like old school wrestlers. But due to the fact I missed 10 to 12 years of wrestling between the Attitude Era all the way into the Ruthless Aggression Era, barely saw any wrestling at all, I don't see myself as an old school style wrestler like that. Wrestling fan like that. I see myself as more near the modern age, because that's when I was really watching it again. But the problem I see for myself is that when you see more high-flying wrestlers, if you overcomplicate the moves, or you make them so intricate that you gotta do a heavy setup with the other person, you gotta wait for them to get in position, you gotta get into position, it takes the immersion out of it. There's nothing wrong with having intricate when it really matters in a story. But when there's no story and it's a straight up match, you're not going to get a Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. I saw that match back, 2016-17 in New Japan. It was heavily choreographed, but due to the fact they were so familiar with each other, they were able to keep down the setups as much as possible, so each move moved into another. I'm not fond of that all the time, but you could see that they were able to really work with each other because they had great chemistry and they knew how to work with each other. You're talking about Commander, whose moves that he does is walking the ring rope a lot. And he's got to do a tremendous amount of setup. And you see Sammy Guevara having to wait heavily. Not 1 second or 2 seconds or 3. Like 5 or 6 or 7 seconds. Now, mind you, I'm glad he did that. I don't want him running the damn ropes and hurting himself. Or worse, running the damn ropes and doesn't prepare Sammy to get ready for it. And then he hurts him badly. I've seen what would happen when someone goes through that. Ergo, what happened in Impact Wrestling when they transitioned, when it was Zema Ion, I can't remember the guy's name after all these years. Zema Ion decided to do a quick flip, and he was going to do a backflip, but his name isn't Connor, but I can't remember his name. He literally got his knee rammed into his head, and it snapped and broke his neck, almost killed him. I don't want to see that. But there's a difference between doing an instant move without preparing yourself or your partner, or having a move that takes almost 6 seconds or more to prepare it. It looked terrible. Commander's moves were really good, but due to the fact that he had to prepare to do it, that's a major issue. I don't know about when it comes to Lucha Libre in Mexico, when they do it, and they're willing to go through that. Here, there's a lot of people that agree with it. Yeah. And then there's others that are going to say, this is what we hate about high-flying pro wrestlers because they take so long to do their choreographed moves. It looks stupid to be standing there, a guy going like this, and it's 6 or 7 seconds. And it's not even like you're with another person when they're outside in a tag match and another person is going to do a backflip onto you and another person. It's just you standing there or laying on the floor waiting 6 or 7 seconds for a setup that is so heavily choreographed and telegraphed, it makes you look stupid. I'm just saying. Now, the part that made WWE look stupid MJF Day, the music of a full orchestra going a little bit of swing. I'm not a big swing fan. I'm more of a, doesn't mean there aren't some swing songs I like, but as I've always said, I like me trance, I like me some rock, but I like trance and I like house music. That's me. But this music wasn't so bad. And then I saw something that scared the living fuck out of me. I'm not going to lie about this. Someone decided to pan on a couple where one of them literally looked like my ex-wife. Now, mind you, before I did this, I know of a site that has a replay of it as they're recording, as they're doing the live show. They record it, and I checked to see if it was. No, it wasn't. But she looked a lot like her. Right now, how old would she be? I'm almost 52, 51, 50. She'd be 49 right now. That woman would look like she's in her 30s, so it's not her. But I would be like, oh shit. Now my ex-wife that I could not watch no wrestling with next to busting my ass at work. She never liked pro wrestling, and now all of a sudden she liked pro wrestling? That sucks. But that's not her. But you get my point. It was a nice segment seeing MJF singing again. He did it with Chris like 2 years ago. We get it here. The setup for the MJF Day was done well. The supervisor of Oyster Bay, I forgot what is it I forgot what they call it, the supervising manager, supervisor, whatever they call it. Not like the mayor, but the managing supervisor of Oyster Bay gave 2 keys to the city. The first one was an official, and the mock-up that was from AEW. That's just, it wasn't bad. And then we get story time from MJF talking, I believe, really, of his real life, talking about, I think he has a attention deficit disorder. I do believe he has ADHD, I believe. And the teacher that basically chewed him out every time he lost focus. And he said the only thing he thought of, the only thing that took his mind was pro wrestling. And he said, basically, bitch, look at me now. You should never said shit. I just ousted you. That's kind of like what he was doing. I'm not like that type of person. I didn't have to go through that as a kid. Doesn't mean I didn't have a worse struggle than him, because I'm dyslexic and I was thrown into special ed and, well, a little me. I'm a very intelligent guy. As a kid, I had dyslexia. Was not diagnosed until the 80s because they didn't understand it then. I went through every program special education had ever developed, literally in New York, where I'm living. I literally went through at least 10 to 20 different programs. And if there's any record of me, there might still be a record of a video of a 9-year-old me saying, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Shuttle pilot. Because that's what I wanted when Columbia first launched. Of course, now Columbia is gone, but that's what I wanted to be. Unfortunately, being dyslexic, not being able to read very well, but being highly intelligent, that didn't work. But still, that's the type of life. And I can identify a little bit with the MJF not feeling correct about what his teacher had said. And everything was done well. I enjoyed the segment. And I'm sure many people did, because it's MJF. He's in his hometown. The crowd flipped him from heel to face briefly. And it was done well. And yes, you got Jungle Boy coming out, messing with him with some symbols. The fight happens. Sammy Guevara comes out, grabs the title. After he has his match, whoops the ass of Commander, says his promo, which basically he does a little truth about MJF. I don't need to really repeat it, but if you've seen the segment, you'll understand what I mean. When it really feels like he's right. He doesn't need to be the bad guy here, even though the crowd were booing his ass. And he said it very clearly. I don't care if you boo or cheer me. I'm going to be your next AEW champion. I earned everything I did. I didn't use Cody to get anywhere. He didn't say anything about Warlow, but that was the next person he could have said, Warlow. He used the Firm. He used the Pinnacle. He used everybody to get ahead. And in the story, he did. And he's not caring about the bidding war 2024. He's staying there. He built the place. He's going to basically do what he's going to do to become champ, which is fine. I agree with that. And it's done well. Now, since I did not see Rampage, I didn't know much about Ethan Page and Hook having their match. I don't know if that was done. I don't remember being done on last week's Dynamite, but it might have been done on Rampage. I don't know. But in the end, finally, even though they're still under contract, and halfway still got his ass whooped by basically Hook, you got Matt Hardy betraying a Ethan Page. The question is, will they finally put those contracts up for grabs by the next pay-per-view? Because that's what it really needs. You really need the pay-per-view to come so you can end this story, which is more on not on Dynamite or Rampage, but on Dark and Dark Elevation. At least if they end it, it'll be something. I'm just saying. Okay, Blackpool Combat Club demolishes a tag team, destroys them, obliterates them, and does the line because you got everybody there, including Bryan Danielson. He makes it very clear. Do you see these men in this ring? I love them. I love Mox. I love Claudio. I love Wheeler, even though he's a piece, he's just a little shit. I love him too. We are real pro wrestlers. That's kind of rubbing it into WWE after what had happened on Raw this Monday. I do believe they did that because of Raw. I do believe that segment happened because of Raw, because they made it very clear they're the only ones in America, and taking away what happened on Raw, which was nothing but crap. It's understandable. This is understandable. So once Hangman Page came out and he wanted to whoop some ass because they made it very clear ain't nobody that's even close to them. They're all amateurs. Amateurs. Hangman comes out, gets his butt kicked. You see Bryan Danielson with a screwdriver, I don't have it in my hand. And then he dug it into the eye, I believe, of a Hangman Page. That's how they described it. There was no bloodletting. It was just him digging into the eye or the face of a Hangman Page. Great. We're getting the Blackpool Combat Club even more vicious than they've been before. Literally, they're more vicious than the Jericho Appreciation Society, who's trying to get the Acclaim to join them. And yes, the segment, I did see it. I'm going to leave it alone because the problem I have is that the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Acclaim are going to have a match on Rampage. But do I want to do that? Because if I want to see Battle of the Belts, I would like to at least have a little time after doing my well, I am going to go to SmackDown. I'm going to watch it. Do I want to take a break and not see that and then see Battle of the Belts and then do a review of that for tomorrow? Because I don't know. I don't know what I want to do for Friday. Do I do a double feature? Do I wait until Battle of the Belts and forget about doing Rampage but still watch SmackDown? And then really release Battle of the Belts the next day, I guess. If I'm going to watch them both. I don't know. It's hard to think. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys tell me below. Should I skip Rampage or not? There was no Jade Cargill on the show. I think she needed to be there. Suppose she's going to have a match with someone new I don't recognize. At least there is somebody new compared to WWE. Well, I should take that back. WWE's Raw, because we did get some people shown on NXT. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check my NXT review. You'll understand. But in the end, it wasn't bad. And the announcement, almost forgot, before the match, and talking about what happened with Jay White. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the announcement that AEW is going to London and will be in Windsor Stadium, because I never watched football. British football. Or rugby, as they call it. No, football is soccer. I tend to forget. Football is soccer. Rugby is similar to American football, sort of. But they're going to be there, what is it? August 27th, I think 1 month after I turn 52. And it will be in Windsor Stadium. That's pretty damn cool. Nothing wrong with that. Admittedly, they had to use a, not, what is it? Niles McGibbet? Not Niles McGinnis. What is the guy's? I can't remember his name. McGinnis. He used to work in NXT. I keep forgetting his name. It's been a while. But he and Adam Cole had to also do the announcement. But it's cool. It's good to see they are going to Europe. And they're going to do All In Europe. That's great. And if I'm right about WWE, take a guess what's going to happen in the next couple of months. Because we are right now in April. April, May, June, July, August. That's roughly 5 months, I believe. 5 or 6 months. Think about what's going to happen with WWE by then. They may actually slide from being here to here at WrestleMania 39 after the Raw. And by 6 months or 5 months, they may be here. They may be here counting on how Vince thinks. If he allows Triple H to continue doing what he does. And we did get Jay White on the show. He didn't go to WWE. He decided to come here, at least as far as we can tell. He's now in AEW. He helps Juice Robinson to beat up on a Ricky Starks, my boy. Fine. Ricky Starks will probably get Action and ready to help him. Finally, the final match. Career versus title. If FTR loses, they leave. Now, this was a big question to a lot of people because their contract is coming up. Are they really going to go to WWE, particularly now, seeing that Vince is now back in total control? I'm sure they noticed that. So the question is going to be, how long are they going to keep holding on to the titles? Because I don't need to hide it. They won, we know. But are they staying in AEW? Because, yes, they may have won this, but that doesn't mean their contracts are not coming up soon. Until we hear a new renegotiation of the contract or an extension of the contract, we don't know. Maybe it'll be announced in the next couple of days or weeks that they had an extension to the contract or they renegotiate the contract and re-sign with AEW. I don't know. But the question is going to be, if they don't renegotiate or do an extension on their contracts, are they going to be crazy enough to go to WWE? Are they? That's going to be a big question. I'm hoping no, because now that Vince is back and they saw what happened to the show, that's a big question. But that's just my point of view on this. You guys tell me below what you think. Is FTR staying? Have you heard that they renegotiated contracts? Because I didn't check. I know they were up for either renegotiation or they were going to do an extension. Possibly one or the other because their contracts were nearing expire anyway. But tell me what you think or what you found. And I hope you enjoyed this Dynamite a lot. Please give me a comment below. I will be doing the Asuka and Bayley video for my Gump Report because I want to see if there's going to be thing added to it. And I may hold off until maybe the week after next. When I am going to wait until maybe next week to release it once I make it. I haven't made it yet. But the question is going to be, are they going to add anything to the Twitters? Because Bayley said what she said on Twitter. And woof, a lot of people are in shock about Asuka saying what she said. She's not joking around. She's not kayfabing, as you know. Kayfabe means that she's doing the work. I don't think Bayley or Asuka are working. Once Vince came back, they're done. I'm sure they may ask to get out of their contracts. Will they get out? Probably not. Or they'll have to sue to get out, like Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné did. But we don't know yet. I will see and wait and see if there's any new information from Bayley or Asuka. Peace.